Dr. Amanda Thompson's coffee mug shattered against the polished floor of the Nevada Research Complex as the emergency lights bathed her laboratory in crimson. Through the reinforced skylight, she watched as the massive Federation vessels emerged from hyperspace, their crystalline hulls refracting sunlight across the desert landscape. 15 years of preparation, and somehow, she still wasn't ready for this moment. Dr. Thompson, her assistant, Mike Reynolds, burst through the laboratory doors, tablet in hand. They're broadcasting on all frequencies, every channel, every device. They're making sure everyone hears it. The Federation's message began to play through the facility's speakers, the translator struggling to keep up with the alien syntax. People of Earth, the Galactic Federation Council extends greetings. Your isolation ends today. Submit to Federation authority within 12 standard hours, or face permanent exclusion from all interstellar trade routes and diplomatic channels. Amanda allowed herself a slight smile as she stepped over the broken ceramic, her boots clicking against the metal floor. Mike, initiate Protocol Omega. And get me General Morrison on the secure line. The young assistant's eyes widened. Ma'am, are you sure? The President hasn't even. The President has known this was coming since the first piece of salvaged tech landed in our labs 20 years ago. She reached beneath her workstation and pressed her palm against the biometric scanner. The entire back wall of the laboratory began to slide away, revealing rows of equipment that shouldn't exist, not according to humanity's official technological level. The secure line crackled to life on her terminal. Thompson, tell me you're ready. General Morrison's voice carried the weight of 15 years of preparation. The Federation's making their move exactly as we predicted, she replied, pulling up schematics on her holographic display. They still think those ships that crashed here were accidents. That were just primitive humans who got lucky with some salvage tech. And the integration tests. Amanda gestured to Mike, who began activating the prototype weapon systems, completed last week. Our hybrid tech isn't just working. It's exceeding all projections. We've successfully merged their quantum field generators with our nuclear reactors. The power output is unlike anything they've ever seen. Through the skylight, more Federation ships appeared, their massive forms blotting out the sun over every major city on Earth. They were trying to intimidate humanity with their show of force. Amanda watched as one of the crystalline behemoths positioned itself directly above the research facility. They have no idea, do they? Morrison's voice carried a hint of satisfaction. That every accidental crash, every piece of salvaged technology, was carefully chosen and orchestrated. Amanda finished. We've had 20 years to study their tech, General. But more importantly, we've had 20 years to improve it, to do things with it that they never imagined possible. The facility's sensors detected smaller ships launching from the Federation vessels, diplomatic shuttles heading for every major capital. They were expecting Earth's surrender, following the same pattern they'd used to absorb countless other civilizations. Amanda pulled up the global defense grid on her display, watching as systems around the world came online, hidden installations activating beneath the Federation's watchful eyes. Humanity had played the long game, appearing primitive and desperate, while secretly preparing for this very moment. Give the order, General, she said, fingers hovering over the activation sequence. Let's show the Federation why they should have done their homework about Earth's history, about what happens when humans are backed into a corner. You've got a green light, Doctor. Make it count. As Amanda initiated the sequence that would reveal humanity's true capabilities, she couldn't help but think about the Federation's expression of superiority in their message. They were about to learn that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in their technology. It was in their ability to adapt, improve, and overcome. The Federation had just made the biggest mistake in their 5,000-year history. They had given humanity time to prepare. Major Jack Reynolds stood at perfect attention in the Pentagon's newly constructed Interstellar Relations Chamber, watching the Federation ambassadors file in with their characteristic air of superiority. The lead diplomat, Ambassador Xthran, towered over the human delegation, his crystalline exoskeleton catching the light with every movement. "We are prepared to accept your submission," Extran announced, each word precisely translated by his neural interface. "The Federation will guide your species to a more civilized existence." Admiral Jessica Crawford caught Reynolds' eye from across the room and gave an almost imperceptible nod. It was time for the performance of his life. "Actually, Ambassador," Reynolds said, stepping forward with carefully rehearsed hesitation, "we were hoping to demonstrate some of our defensive capabilities before finalizing any agreements." The Federation representatives exchanged what passed for amused glances among their species. Extran's mandibles clicked in what humans had learned was their equivalent of a condescending smile. "If you insist on this display," Extran gestured magnanimously, "though I fail to see the purpose." Reynolds led the delegation through a series of blast doors to the underground testing facility. Dr. Thompson's team had worked through the night to set up what would appear to be a hastily assembled demonstration. Everything had to look just primitive enough to be believable. "This is one of our basic defense prototypes," Reynolds explained, gesturing to what appeared to be a crude attempt at replicating Federation shield technology. "We've been trying to understand the principles behind your energy barriers." Extran stepped forward, mandibles clicking rapidly now, their sign of barely contained amusement. "The harmonics are all wrong. The power distribution would never." The alien's words cut off as Reynolds activated the device. Instead of the expected failure, a shield sphere materialized, but not the standard blue energy field the Federation used. This barrier shimmered with an impossible combination of colors, its surface rippling like oil on water. "Impossible," one of the junior Federation scientists whispered. "You've combined quantum shielding with plasma distribution." "Oh, this." Reynolds maintained his rehearsed uncertainty. "We found that nuclear fusion provides a more stable power source than your standard quantum cores. The plasma layer was just to help contain the reaction." Admiral Crawford stepped forward, her voice carrying just the right note of hopeful desperation. "We've made some progress with weapons systems as well, if you'd like to see." The Federation delegation followed, their earlier amusement replaced by growing unease. Each demonstration revealed another crude human innovation that shouldn't have been possible: gravity manipulation fields powered by Earth's own magnetic core, AI targeting systems that adapted faster than Federation protocols could track. In the observation room above, the testing range, Reynolds watched the color drain from Extran's exoskeleton as the next test began. A human pilot in what appeared to be a cobbled-together fighter craft executed maneuvers that violated several laws of physics, at least according to Federation understanding. "Your ships cannot move like that," Extran stated, but his voice had lost its condescending edge. "The G-forces alone moved." "Oh, right," Reynolds interrupted, letting a touch of pride slip into his voice. "We had to modify the inertial dampeners. Turns out they work better when you sync them with human biorhythms." "Happy accident, really," Crawford's communicator chirped, the signal they'd been waiting for. Dr. Thompson's teams around the world were ready for the next phase. "There is one more thing," Crawford said, leading them to the final demonstration chamber. "We've been particularly interested in your quantum communication networks." As the door slid open, revealing a room filled with technology that seamlessly blended Federation principles with human innovation, Reynolds saw the exact moment Extran realized the truth. The Federation hadn't discovered Earth. Earth had been deliberately waiting to be discovered. "This changes the nature of our discussion," Extran said quietly, his translator struggling to convey the complex mixture of fear and respect in his tone. Reynolds smiled. "I believe it does, Ambassador. I believe it does." Colonel Marcus Davidson watched the holographic display in Earth's Combined Defense Command as thousands of Federation warships dropped out of hyperspace. The massive underground facility, buried deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, hummed with controlled energy as personnel monitored their stations. Nobody showed fear. They'd trained for this moment for years. Federation fleet has cleared Jupiter's orbit, Lieutenant Sarah Martinez announced, her fingers dancing across the quantum interface. They're maintaining standard attack formation delta. Exactly as your models predicted. Sir. Davidson allowed himself a small smile. Of course they are. The Federation hasn't had to adapt their tactics in 5 centuries. Why start now? He keyed the global command channel. All units, this is Thunderstorm Actual. Execute Operation Thunderstorm. Authorization code. Thermopyla. Across the solar system, humanity's hidden defenses stirred to life. The seemingly abandoned research stations on Mars's moons revealed themselves as weapon platforms. Asteroid belt mining operations transformed into strike bases. Even the primitive weather satellites in Earth's orbit shed their disguises. First wave approaching Mars defense perimeter, Martins reported. They're scanning for resistance. Let's give them something to find. Davidson activated his neural link to the defense grid. Ghost Squadron, you're up. Show them what those salvaged fighters can really do. In the void between Mars and Earth, 30 small craft shimmed into existence. They looked like crude copies of Federation fighters, exactly what you'd expect from a species reverse engineering stolen technology. The Federation fleet's scanners registered them as minimal threats. That was their first mistake. Ghost Lead to Control, Captain Lisa Chen's voice crackled through the command channel. Engaging enemy forces. Time to show them why Earth still teaches dogfighting. The primitive Earth fighters moved in ways that defied Federation combat doctrine. They rolled and twisted through 3-dimensional space, their hybrid engines combining Federation quantum drive technology with good old-fashioned human ingenuity. Federation targeting systems, designed to track logical flight patterns, couldn't predict the seemingly chaotic human maneuvers. Multiple enemy contacts down, Martins reported, unable to keep the excitement from her voice. They're trying to adapt their formation to counter. Sir, they're launching their main strike force. Davidson nodded. Right on schedule. Dr. Thompson, are you ready? EMP web is hot. Amanda's voice came through clear and confident, waiting for them to cross the line. The Federation's main attack force pushed forward, thousands of ships moving in perfect, predictable formation. Their sensors had been modified after the first wave's encounter, ready to track the erratic human fighters. They never saw the real threat. They've crossed the threshold, Martins announced. All ships are within the web. Davidson's voice was cold and clear. Initiate solar storm protocol. Across the solar system, hidden emitters activated. The Federation fleet found itself caught in a web of electromagnetic energy, their carefully calibrated shields useless against this primitive but devastatingly effective weapon. Ships began dropping out of formation as their neural networks crashed. Reading multiple system failures across the enemy fleet, Martins reported. Their command and control is in chaos. Time for Phase 2. Davidson opened a channel to the Lunar Defense Base. Colonel Hayes, the door's open. Show them what Marine Corps orbital infantry can do. From the dark side of the moon, hundreds of drop pods launched. Inside each one, a squad of Space Marines waited, their combat suits combining Federation shield technology with Earth's most advanced battle systems. They'd trained for years in secret, preparing to board and capture Federation ships. Sir, Martinez's voice carried a note of awe. The Federation fleet is retreating. They're attempting emergency hyperspace jumps. Davidson watched as the mighty Federation armada, which had expected an easy victory over a primitive world, fled in disarray. Less than a third of their ships made the jump to safety. Send word to command, he said, already planning the next phase. Tell them Phase 1 was a success, and send a message to the Federation Council. Welcome to Earth, gentlemen. Class is in session. Lieutenant Kelly Anderson pressed her back against the crystalline wall of the Federation dreadnought, her active camouflage system adapting to match the alien surface perfectly. The rest of Echo Team, 5 of Earth's most elite special operators, melted into the shadows around her. Their hybrid combat suits, combining Federation stealth tech with human ingenuity, made them virtually undetectable. "Echo Actual to Control," she whispered into her neural link. "We're inside the nightmare. These guys really need to upgrade their internal sensors." "Copy that, Echo," Colonel Davidson's voice replied in her mind. "Remember, we need their command codes. Try to keep the chaos to a minimum." Kelly smiled behind her visor. "No promises, sir." These Federation types spoke easy. Her team had spent 2 years training for this mission, learning every weakness in Federation ship design. The aliens' rigid thinking was their greatest vulnerability. They never expected anyone to infiltrate their ships using maintenance shafts designed for repair drones. "Movement ahead," Sergeant Mike Torres reported through the team link. "Standard patrol pattern. 4 tangos, heavy shield config." Kelly checked her hybrid weapon, a human-modified Federation pulse rifle that could pierce their own shields. Another little surprise courtesy of Dr. Thompson's research team. "Control, we're about to go hot," she transmitted, initiating Echo Protocol. The team moved like ghosts through the ship's corridors, their movements guided by centuries of human special operations experience. Federation troops were brave and well-equipped, but they fought according to protocols and procedures. They never adapted, never improvised. That was about to cost them dearly. Torres activated their custom electronic warfare package, another impossible hybrid of human and Federation tech. The ship's internal communications went dark, and its neural network began experiencing random glitches. "What is happening?" A Federation officer's translated voice echoed through the corridor. "Security systems are not responding according to protocol." Kelly gave the signal. Echo teams struck from multiple directions, their attacks completely outside Federation combat doctrine. The alien warriors, used to stand-up fights with clear rules of engagement, never stood a chance against Earth's special forces. "Bridge access secured," Corporal Sarah Rodriguez reported. "You should see their faces, LT. They've never seen humans move like this." Kelly's team converged on the bridge, their movements synchronized through years of training. The Federation captain, his crystalline exoskeleton gleaming under the emergency lights, stood defiantly at his command station. "Impossible," he declared as Echo Team secured the room. "Your species cannot possess such advanced stealth technology." "That's your first mistake," Kelly said, approaching the command console. "Thinking you know what humans can and can't do." She inserted Dr. Thompson's quantum decryption device into the ship's network. "Torres, show them what we learned from studying their secure networks." The surgeon's fingers flew across the alien interface, applying chaos theory algorithms that Dr. Thompson's team had developed. The Federation's supposedly unbreakable encryption crumbled in minutes. "Control, this is Echo Actual," Kelly transmitted as data flooded their secure channel. "Package secured. You're not going to believe what we found." "Multiple Federation fleet movements," Torres reported. "Supply lines, patrol routes, communication protocols, everything." Kelly watched as the Federation captain's expression shifted from defiance to horror. His species had never imagined that their technology could be turned against them so effectively. "Time to go, Echo," she announced, activating their extraction protocol. "Let's leave our friends a little going-away present." As Echo Team disappeared into the ship's maintenance network, their hybrid virus began spreading through the Federation fleet's communication systems. By the time they reached their stealth shuttle, the entire sector's Federation forces would be in chaos. "Mission accomplished, Control," Kelly reported as her team broke away from the dreadnought. "Tell the brass that the Federation's about to learn why you don't pick a fight with human special forces." Captain Ryan Mitchell stood on the bridge of the UES Phantom, his flagship hidden in the turbulent gases of the Horsehead Nebula. The Ghost Fleet's ships were practically invisible, their hybrid stealth systems bending light and radiation around their hulls. Even their heat signatures were masked, dispersed through experimental quantum sinks that Dr. Thompson's team had developed. "Contact," Lieutenant James Cooper whispered from his sensor station, as if the Federation ships could hear them through the void. "Federation supply convoy, right on schedule. 6 freighters, 2 escort frigates." Mitchell nodded, his neural interface displaying the tactical overlay. "Status of the nebula charges. All 24 mines are in position," Commander Rebecca Hayes reported. "Gravitational distortion fields are masked by the natural nebula interference. They'll never see them until it's too late." The bridge crew worked in near silence, their movements practiced and precise. The Ghost Fleet had been hunting Federation convoys for weeks, using tactics that the aliens had never encountered in their thousands of years of space combat. "Time to show them another magic trick," Mitchell said, opening the Fleet Command Channel. "All ships, execute Operation Starfall. Let's make some chaos." The Ghost Fleet's 10 ships emerged from their hidden positions, but not as a standard attack formation. Instead, they moved like ancient sea predators, using the nebula's natural currents to accelerate. Federation sensors, designed to detect traditional space combat maneuvers, struggled to track their unconventional approach. "They're responding according to standard protocol," Cooper reported, a note of satisfaction in his voice. "Escorts are moving to defensive position Alpha 7. Predictable as always," Mitchell smiled. "Trigger the mines." The hidden gravitational charges activated, creating a complex web of distortion fields. The Federation ships, their rigid formations now working against them, found themselves pulled in multiple directions. Their advanced shields, calibrated for energy weapons and kinetic impacts, did nothing against the fabric of space itself being weaponized. "First escort is breaking apart," Hayes announced. "Their hull can't handle the gravitational stress. Second escort is trying to compensate, but they're fighting their own inertia." Mitchell watched as the Federation's supposedly superior technology proved useless against human innovation. His fleet had turned the natural properties of space into weapons, something the Federation had never considered possible. "Ghost Fleet, begin Phase 2, he ordered. "Show them why we studied ancient naval warfare." The human ships moved in patterns based on age-old sea combat tactics, adapted for three-dimensional space. They created crossfires that shouldn't have been possible, using the gravitational distortions to curve their weapons fire around the Federation's shield arrays. "Sir," Cooper's voice rose in excitement, "we're picking up emergency transmissions from the convoy. They're asking how we're doing this." "Let's give them something else to think about," Mitchell replied. "Deploy the drone swarms. Thousands of micro-drones, each no bigger than a human hand, poured from the Ghost Fleet's launch bays. They moved like schools of fish, another tactic borrowed from Earth's oceans, overwhelming the Federation's point defense systems through sheer unpredictability. Within minutes, the battle, if it could even be called that, was over. The Federation convoy had been completely neutralized, their ships either disabled or surrendered, without a single human casualty. "Send the recovery teams," Mitchell ordered, "and make sure our Federation friends get a good look at their Earth boarding parties. Let them see what they're really up against." As he watched his crews secure the Federation vessels, Mitchell reflected on how far humanity had come. The Federation had expected to find a primitive species playing with technology they didn't understand. Instead, they'd found innovation they couldn't comprehend. "Control, this is Ghost Actual," he transmitted. "Operation Starfall complete. The Federation just lost another supply line, and we've given them another mystery to solve." Dr. Emma Sullivan studied the holographic display in the Political Analysis Center, watching the Federation Council's emergency session through intercepted feeds. Years of studying alien body language and cultural markers had prepared her for this moment. The Federation was fracturing, and she could read every sign. "Look at the Centaurian representative," she said to Admiral Crawford, pointing to one of the crystalline beings. "The color fluctuations in their core. They're not just worried, they're terrified." Crawford leaned forward, her eyes narrowing. "Can you use this?" "Already am." Emma pulled up another display, showing diplomatic communications they'd intercepted. "3 of the younger Federation species have secretly reached out to us. They're fascinated by how quickly we've adapted their technology. The rigidity of the old guard is losing its appeal." The room's quantum processors hummed as they analyzed countless communications, searching for patterns that could be exploited. Emma's team had spent years building psychological profiles of every Federation species, understanding their fears, their ambitions, and most importantly, their doubts. "The Arcturus delegation is particularly interesting," Emma continued, bringing up their profile. "They joined the Federation only 2 centuries ago. Their society values innovation, but the Federation's technological restrictions have been holding them back. Show them what we can do with their primitive tech, and they'll start questioning the old ways." Crawford finished. "Clever." A priority alert flashed across the display. One of their deep cover agents had transmitted new information from the Federation capital world. Emma's eyes widened as she read the report. "This is perfect," she breathed. "The Federation Council is split. The elder races want to commit their entire fleet to crushing us, but the younger species are pushing for diplomatic solutions. They're actually fighting over us." Crawford smiled. "Time to pour some fuel on that fire." Emma nodded, her fingers dancing across the interface. "Captain Mitchell's Ghost Fleet just provided us with perfect ammunition. The younger species are already impressed by our naval tactics. Wait until they see how we've improved their weapons technology." She pulled up the footage from the recent battle, carefully edited to emphasize humanity's innovations. The way Earth ships combined Federation tech with natural phenomena. The integration of ancient combat wisdom with modern space warfare. It was a message that would resonate with the Federation's more progressive members. "Send this through the secure channels we've established," she ordered her team. "Make sure our friends in the Arcturus and Centauri delegations get a good look, and add the data from Lieutenant Anderson's Special Operations mission. The young bloods will love seeing their perfect security cracked." "Doctor," one of her analysts called out, "we're detecting unusual communication patterns among the outer colonies. Several Federation worlds are bypassing official channels to contact each other directly." Emma's eyes lit up. This was what they'd been waiting for. The first real cracks in the Federation's unity. Their carefully crafted campaign of psychological warfare was bearing fruit. "Admiral," she said, turning to Crawford, "I think it's time for Phase 2. Let's show them what happens when you combine human diplomacy with human intelligence operations." Crawford nodded grimly. "Do it. Let's turn their political machine against itself." Emma turned back to her console, beginning the next phase of Earth's most subtle attack yet. While the Ghost Fleet and Special Forces teams kept the Federation military off balance, her team would dismantle their political unity piece by piece. "Send word to all our assets," she ordered. "Operation Divide and Enlighten is now active. Let's show the Federation that humans don't just fight with ships and guns. We fight with ideas." The Political Analysis Center hummed with activity as her team began their work. The Federation had never faced an enemy that could fight them on every level: military, technological, and now political. They were about to learn that human innovation wasn't limited to the battlefield. Admiral James Harrison stood at the command center of the UES Excalibur, Earth's first true star dreadnought. Through the bridge's quantum glass viewport, he watched as the Sword of Terra fleet assembled. Each ship represented the perfect fusion of human innovation and Federation technology, but they were more than just advanced vessels. They were the embodiment of Earth's military heritage. All fleet elements report ready, sir, Commander Diana Walker announced from her station. Ghost Fleet has confirmed target positions. Special operations teams are in place. Dr. Thompson's new weapon systems are online and synchronized. Harrison nodded, his neural interface showing him the status of every ship in the fleet. 100 vessels, each named for a different battle from human history. The Federation was about to learn why Earth's military history made them so dangerous. Open fleet-wide channel, he ordered. It's time to show them everything. The massive fleet moved with precision that would have seemed impossible just months ago. Ships arranged themselves in formations that seemed chaotic to Federation observers, but actually followed principles from every era of human combat. Detection grid shows multiple Federation battle groups responding to our presence, Walker reported. They're deploying according to standard combat protocols. Harrison smiled. Just as Dr. Sullivan predicted. Begin Phase 1. Operation Thermopylae. The front line of Earth's fleet shifted, creating what appeared to be a vulnerable gap in their formation. It was a tactic as old as ancient Greece. The hot gates reborn in the cold of space. The Federation fleet, unable to resist such an obvious weakness, took the bait. Enemy forces are committing to the center. Lieutenant Rodriguez called out. Ghost Fleet elements report ready for Phase 2. Execute Hannibal Protocol, Harrison commanded. Just as the Federation's main force committed to the attack, Earth's hidden forces struck. Ghost Fleet vessels emerged from carefully prepared hiding spots in nearby asteroid fields, their movements mimicking the ancient Carthaginian general's famous pincer movement. Multiple Federation ships are attempting to regroup, Walker reported, a note of satisfaction in her voice. Their formation is breaking down. Harrison watched as centuries of human military innovation played out on an interstellar scale. Ships moved in patterns learned from Alexander the Great, Napoleon, and Patton. Special forces teams, using Lieutenant Anderson's infiltration tactics, were already aboard key Federation vessels. Sir, Federation Command is attempting to coordinate a counterattack, Rodriguez announced. They're adapting their tactics. Finally learning, are they? Harrison actually smiled. Too late. Begin Phase 3. Execute Operation Rising Sun. The Excalibur's new quantum core surged with power as Dr. Thompson's most advanced weapons came online. The ship's very structure seemed to hum as systems that shouldn't have been possible activated all at once. All ships, deploy solar mirrors, Harrison ordered. Massive arrays unfolded from Earth's capital ships, their surfaces covered in a material that combined Federation energy technology with human optical science. In perfect synchronization, they focused the light of a nearby star, creating an artificial solar storm that overwhelmed Federation sensors. Federation fleet is in disarray, Walker reported. Their ships are blind and their communications are scrambled. Special forces teams report multiple vessels are surrendering. Harrison watched as the mighty Federation armada, which had never known defeat in 5,000 years, broke apart under the combined weight of human innovation and determination. Every lesson from Earth's long history of warfare, every advance they'd made in adapting Federation technology, had led to this moment. Send word to command, he ordered. The sword of Terra has been drawn. Tell them what Admiral Nelson once said. The day is ours. As the Federation fleet retreated in chaos, Harrison reflected on the irony. The Federation had feared Earth's potential for violence, never realizing that it was our history of conflict that had made us so innovative, so adaptable, and ultimately, so unbeatable. Your orders, Admiral, Walker asked. Pursue and capture what we can, Harrison replied. It's time to show the galaxy what humanity can really do when we're pushed too far. General Michael Brooks stood before the Federation Council chamber, his dress uniform bearing the new insignia of Earth's combined defense force. The crystalline walls of the Federation capital reflected the light of 3 suns, but they no longer seemed as impressive as they once did. Not after what humanity had achieved. "The terms are non-negotiable," he stated, his voice carrying through the vast chamber. "Earth will not accept anything less than full recognition as an independent power. The days of Federation dominance are over." The council chamber erupted in a cacophony of translated protests and arguments. Dr. Emma Sullivan, standing behind Brooks, noted the shifting colors and patterns among the various species, signs of fear, respect, and most importantly, acceptance of the new reality. "You cannot expect us to simply accept these demands," the High Counselor of the Federation declared, his crystalline form pulsing with agitation. "Our civilization has stood for 5,000 years." Brooks activated the holographic display he brought, showing footage from the recent battles. "And in 3 months, humanity has shown you just how fragile that standing really is. Dr. Thompson, would you care to explain what they're seeing?" Dr. Amanda Thompson stepped forward, her eyes gleaming with pride. "What you're watching is just a fraction of what we've developed. Every piece of technology you thought we'd merely copied, we've actually improved. Your quantum cores, we've made them 40% more efficient. Your neural networks, we've enhanced their processing speed by 300%. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Lieutenant Anderson's Special Forces teams had proven Federation security was a myth. Captain Mitchell's Ghost Fleet had shown their military doctrine was obsolete, and Admiral Harrison's Sword of Terra had demonstrated just how far behind they really were. "But it's not just about technology," Brooks continued. "Dr. Sullivan, share what you've learned about their political situation." Emma advanced, her tablet displaying data streams from across Federation space. 17 member species have already expressed interest in direct alliances with Earth. They've seen what we can do, not just in combat, but in innovation and adaptation. The old order is changing, whether you accept it or not. The younger members of the council were nodding, their own forms displaying colors that Dr. Sullivan had learned to read as enthusiasm. The Federation's rigid structure had held them back for too long. "So here are your choices," Brooks declared. "Accept Earth as an equal power, with all the rights and privileges that entails, or watch your Federation tear itself apart as more members seek what we're offering. Freedom to innovate, to grow, to change." The High Counselor's form shifted through several colors before settling on the deep blue of resignation. "And what assurances do we have that Earth won't simply conquer us all?" Brooks actually laughed at that. "If we wanted conquest, we wouldn't be here talking. We want partners, not subjects. Earth has learned through its own history that empire building is a fool's game. We're offering something better. A future where species work together, learn from each other, grow together." The council chamber erupted in discussion, but Brooks could see the outcome in their postures, their colors, their very energy. Humanity had done more than win a war. They'd changed the very foundation of galactic society. "The vote is cast," the High Counselor finally announced. "Earth is recognized as a sovereign power equal in standing to the Federation itself." As Brooks left the chamber, he smiled at his team. "Send word to command. Tell them the real work begins now. It's time to show the galaxy what humanity can really do when we're building things up instead of breaking them down." The dawn of a new era had arrived, and humanity would lead the way, not through dominance, but through innovation, adaptation, and the unshakable spirit that had carried them from stone tools to the stars.